You were not chosen by chance, not tonight. Your frequency pulled this message to you at the exact second you needed.
We have watched your timeline bend, crack, and realign in silence.
For this, a green light flashed, and you looked away without knowing it was yours.
That moment didn't leave. You did, and the signal kept waiting for you. Stay now, and you will reclaim it tonight in 3 minutes.
The green light was real. It was not a metaphor. It was not wishful thinking. It was a signal in your field, and it happened on your timeline. You remember it as almost nothing. A quiet, a pause inside the noise, a second where your breath changed, a moment where your attention softened and the world felt rearranged. That was it. You were not wrong. You were early. And early signals do not arrive with fireworks. They arrive with coherence. They arrive with a clean, internal yes that does not need evidence. The Arcturian Council does not announce itself with chaos. They do not chase your mind. They do not compete with your doubts. They wait for the instant your frequency stops folding backward. And there was an instant. Your old timeline cracked without drama. Your future aligned without permission. Your presence became impossible to ignore, not to people, but to the grid that listens beneath people. This is why the green light came first. It was not a reward. It was a confirmation. It marked the point where you became trackable. It marked the point where your signal stopped echoing survival and began broadcasting emergence. You felt it, not as excitement, as recognition, as the calm that arrives before a door opens, as the sensation that something was watching the way your life began shifting in undeniable angles. Then the silence came, and you called the silence proof that nothing happened. You assumed the moment was false because it did not immediately become a new life. You assumed you missed it because it did not hold your hand. But the council does not hold hands. They calibrate. They observe. They respond to activation, not to panic. They respond to coherence, not to craving. They respond to emergence, not to performance. So when the green light flashed, it was because you crossed a threshold your mind could not name yet. Your awareness stopped collapsing into who you used to be. Your awareness began rising into who you were built to embody, and your mind arrived late to its own evolution. That is not failure. That is the design. Your body receives the signal first. Your timeline shifts first. Your logic catches up after the fact. And when it does, it tries to rewrite the moment into something smaller, something safer, something you can dismiss. But we will not allow you to dismiss what already happened. The green light was the moment your intuition became louder than your fear, even if only for a breath. The green light was the moment your frequency stopped apologizing for wanting alignment. The green light was the moment you stopped begging life to change and began radiating the shape of the change. You did not hold on to it because you were not meant to cling. You were meant to continue, yet you paused, you hesitated. You looked for confirmation outside your own field. You waited for a sign that matched the old rules. And the moment passed your eyes. Not because it left, because you were trained to overlook subtle power. Because you were trained to believe that real shifts are loud. Because you were trained to measure destiny in outcomes instead of in signals. This is why we are speaking now. The council felt the pulse when it happened. They saw the point your frequency rose above the baseline you lived in. They saw the instant you became coherent enough to receive direction without distortion. And you have been replaying that instant as an accident. It was not an accident. It was a green light. You do not need to go back in time to find it. You need to stop arguing with it. You need to stop demanding that it prove itself. You need to let it stand as the truth it already is. Because once a green light is given, your timeline does not return to that shape. The path continues unfolding from within. The signal continues calling from the same coordinate. And if you are hearing us now, it means the coordinate is active. It means the moment is open. It means you are ready to recognize what you already received. You did not miss the moment. You missed the interpretation of it. That is the difference between failure and transition. Failure ends. Transition continues, even when your mind refuses to call it real. This is why it felt like it slipped through your hands, because your hands were never meant to catch it. The green light was not an object. It was a threshold, and thresholds do not ask for your permission. A signal arrives, your field responds, your timeline shifts. And only later does your mind arrive, looking for proof in a world that has already moved. And this is when the confusion begins. Your mind searches for the old pattern. It looks for drama. It looks for a sudden external change. It looks for a clear before and after that it can narrate to itself. But the council does not speak in spectacle. They speak in coherence. They speak in the small, precise moment your frequency stops collapsing. So when you say you missed it, what you really mean is this. You did not recognize yourself in the instant you became more of yourself. You were trained to dismiss subtle power. You were trained to call quiet shifts nothing. You were trained to trust only what other people can see. And the green light was never for other people. This is why you felt a strange emptiness after. Not because the moment was gone, because the old identity that needed struggle could not follow you through. And this is when you started blaming yourself. You replayed the day, you replayed the choice, you replayed the silence. You told yourself you hesitated. You told yourself you were too late. But we watched the timeline and we saw the truth. You did not hesitate. Your perception lagged behind your activation. Your body crossed first. Your awareness followed. Your language came last. And your language tried to frame the shift using the only vocabulary it knew. Missed. Lost. Wrong. This is why we are correcting the word. You were not wrong. You were reorganizing. A transition feels like being between rooms. The old door is behind you. The new door has not yet become visible. And this is why you feel ungrounded. Because the ground you used to stand on is no longer the same frequency. You still wake up. You still move through the same world. But something is not matching. The timing feels off. The conversations feel thin. The desires feel distant. The old motivations do not hook you the way they used to. This is not you failing to manifest. This is you outgrowing the timeline that once contained you. And this is when your mind panics. It says, if nothing changed, then nothing happened. It says, if I cannot explain it, it cannot be real. But the council focuses on the moment control releases. They focus on the moment your signal stops begging and starts broadcasting. They focus on the moment your fear loses volume, even briefly, and your intuition becomes louder. And once that moment happens, it is irreversible. The old timeline can still echo around you. The old patterns can still try to reattach. But the part of you that received the green light cannot unreceive it. This is why you have been restless. This is why you have been sensitive. Your field is listening differently now, and this is why you think you missed it. Because you are expecting the transition to feel like arrival, but it feels like emergence. It feels like being pulled forward by something you cannot argue with. It feels like you are already in motion, even when you are standing still. You are in the middle phase now, not broken, not behind, between the cracked past and the aligned future. Your only task is to stay present long enough to notice the signal again. And this is why we say it again. You did not miss the moment. You missed the moment's meaning. And meaning can be restored. Because recognition is not time-bound. Recognition is frequency-bound. The instant you recognize the green light as real, you align with the timeline that was already forming around it. And that alignment begins tonight. The timeline has not closed. It has only changed the way it opens. You believe you missed a window. You imagine a door that's shut behind you. You feel the weight of time, and you translate that weight into guilt. But timelines do not punish. They converge, they bend, they realign around the frequency you are willing to hold. And this is why the green light still matters. A true signal does not expire like an offer. A true signal marks a coordinate. It marks the exact point where you became compatible with what has been calling you. That compatibility does not disappear. It deepens. What you call too late is simply your mind staring at an old map. It is measuring your path by the timeline you outgrew. It is trying to return you to the version of you that could be delayed. But you cannot return there. Your old timeline cracked, your future aligned, your field registered the shift. Even if your choices felt messy afterward, the signal already moved through you. And this is when the fear speaks. It says, if I didn't act fast enough, I lost it. It says, if I didn't capitalize, I failed. It says, if I didn't become someone new overnight, it was not real. We are not here to comfort that fear. We are here to dissolve it. Because the door did not close. The door became internal. The council does not open doors in the outside world first. They open doors in your coherence. They open doors in the way you think, in the way you breathe, in the way you stop negotiating with your own knowing. This is the moment you understand something quietly. The timeline is not a hallway with one chance. It is a living current responding to your signal, and your signal is still active. If you have felt restlessness, that is the current pulling. If you have felt tenderness, that is the current refining. If you have felt impatience, that is the old timeline trying to reclaim you. But it cannot reclaim you. It can only echo. And this is why you keep looking back. Not because you belong there. Because you are between converging lines. One line is fading, one line is forming. Your awareness is adjusting to a new gravity. This is not the end. This is the middle. A closing timeline feels like silence. An opening timeline feels like quiet pressure, not excitement, pressure. A subtle insistence that you cannot ignore forever. You have felt that insistence. It appears as a thought that will not leave. A pull toward a decision you keep postponing. A sense that your life is being rearranged from beneath your habits. That is not anxiety. That is alignment beginning to tighten. And this is why the council is still watching. They do not watch to judge you. They watch to read your coherence. They watch to see when you stop asking for permission to become who you already are. Because when you stop asking, the timeline responds immediately. Not always with visible change, with internal clearance, with space, with a cleaner signal, with the removal of fog. This is what an open timeline looks like. It looks like clarity arriving without explanation. So do not interpret the gap as rejection. The gap was recalibration. The gap was the timeline bending around your readiness. The gap was the outside world catching up to the inside shift. And it is catching up now. We will give you one anchoring command, not as a request, but as a seal. Type this exactly in the comments. Green light received. Do not add anything. Do not decorate it. Do not explain it. Let the statement stand as the frequency, because when you name what happened, you stop collapsing back into doubt. When you name it, you re-enter the coordinate. When you name it, you allow the opening to show itself in the next form. And this is why tonight matters. Not because tonight is your last chance, because tonight is the first moment you stop calling it too late. The timeline has not closed. It has been waiting for your recognition again. Do this tonight, not tomorrow, not when you feel more spiritual, not when your life gets quieter. Tonight, while the signal is still warm in your field. This is not a ceremony. This is a calibration. You will need 3 minutes. You will need your phone face down. You will need a glass of water or nothing at all. You will need only one thing. Your willingness to stop performing and start receiving. And this is the moment you follow exactly. Step 1. Sit where your spine can rise, not rigid, just aligned. Feet on the ground if you can. Hands open, palms up. Let your body show the timeline that you are not bracing. Breathe in once, slowly. Breathe out once, fully. Do not chase thoughts. Do not fix anything. Let the noise exist without joining it. Step 2. Bring your attention to the center of your chest, not your heart as an emotion, your chest as a signal point, the place where truth feels simple, and say, out loud, one sentence. The green light was real. Say it again. The green light was real. Say it a third time, slower. The green light was real. Do not add, I hope. Do not add, maybe. Do not soften it. Let your voice hold coherence. Step 3. Now name what you are leaving behind without a story. Say this once. I release the timeline that required me to doubt myself. And then say this once. I release the version of me that needed proof to obey truth. Notice what happens after. A pause. A clearing. A small internal drop. That drop is not sadness. That drop is your field unhooking from the past. Step 4. Place one hand on your chest, the other hand on your lower belly. You are creating a circuit. You are telling your nervous system, I am safe to receive my own future, and breathe in for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 2. Breathe out for a count of 6. Do it one more time. If your mind interrupts, let it interrupt. Do not fight it. Let the breath continue anyway. Your breath is the authority here. Step 5. Now you will listen, not for a voice, not for a vision, for a sensation of direction. Ask nothing. Demand nothing. Simply state this. I am available for the next signal. And then be still for 10 seconds. In that stillness, notice the first thing that becomes obvious. It will not be dramatic. It will feel simple. A yes, a no, a pull, a quiet certainty, a shift in your posture, a softening in your face. That is the signal. Do not chase it. Do not test it. Do not analyze it. Recognition is enough. Step 6. Take the glass of water if you have it. Take one sip. Slow. As if you are sealing an agreement your body already signed. And this is the final line. My timeline is open. I receive the green light now. Say it once. Then stand up. Not because the ritual ends, because the transition continues. You will not see fireworks. You will feel orientation. You will feel a cleaner relationship to time. You will feel the urge to stop delaying what you already know. And this is why we make it short. Because long rituals feed the mind. Short rituals feed coherence. Now complete the ritual publicly as a seal, so your field cannot pretend it never happened. Type this exactly in the comments. Green light sealed. No punctuation. No extra words. Let the statement be the activation. And after you type it, do not scroll. Do not search for more messages. Let the timeline respond to the one you just honored. Tonight, you do not need more information. Tonight, you need alignment. After the signal is received, nothing becomes louder. Everything becomes clearer. You will not wake up inside a different life. You will wake up inside the same life with a different relationship to it. And that difference is how you will know the green light has been accepted. Your mind will still try to make this dramatic. It will still look for instant proof. It will still ask, where is the visible change? But the council does not measure you by outcomes. They measure you by coherence. And coherence changes your behavior before it changes your circumstances. This is the first shift. You stop waiting to feel ready. You may still feel fear. You may still feel uncertainty. But you stop treating those feelings like instructions. You stop letting the noise decide the direction. You are no longer waiting. You are moving while you feel. And this is when your energy becomes clean. You will notice your attention returning to you, less scattered, less hungry, less desperate for signs from outside. You will feel a quiet intolerance for what drains you. Not anger, not judgment, just a natural refusal. A simple no that does not need to be explained. This is not you becoming cold. This is you becoming aligned. You will also notice time changing, not the clock, your internal timing. The way you sense when something is finished, the way you sense when something is beginning. Your urgency becomes quieter. Your procrastination becomes louder. You will feel which one is true immediately. And this is why we said the ritual would be short. Because the signal does not want you ritualizing forever. It wants you oriented. After the signal is received, you stop negotiating with your own knowing. You may still think about possibilities. You may still weigh options, but you stop betraying the clear answer when it arrives. There is a difference between discernment and delay. Discernment is quiet. Delay is noisy, and your field will start recognizing that difference without effort. You will also begin to feel what is not yours. Old obligations, old identities, old expectations. They will feel slightly out of phase. Not wrong in a moral way, wrong in a frequency way. You will try to fit back into them, and your body will not cooperate. Your chest will tighten, your breath will shorten, your energy will dip, and this is not punishment. This is feedback. This is the council's language inside your nervous system. They are showing you where your signal collapses. They are showing you where you still compress yourself to be accepted. And because you have received the green light, you will not be able to pretend you do not feel it anymore. This is another shift. You stop romanticizing your old timeline. You stop calling it comfortable. You start noticing it was familiar, not true. And this is when the grief can surface. Not grief for a person. Grief for a version of you that worked so hard to survive inside a smaller life. Let the grief pass through. Do not dramatize it. Do not suppress it. Grief is a sign of detachment completing. After the signal is received, your intuition becomes practical. It stops showing up as mysterious feelings you ignore. It starts showing up as clear decisions you execute. You will feel guided towards simplicity, toward fewer words, toward cleaner boundaries, towards saying less and meaning more. You will notice how much you used to explain yourself. You will notice how much you used to seek permission, and you will begin to stop. Because you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You have been chosen. You are no longer seeking your path. Your path is unfolding from within. There is also a subtle shift in what you tolerate in your mind. Certain thoughts will feel stale. Certain spirals will feel repetitive. Not because you became enlightened, but because your frequency has moved past that loop. You will still have moments of doubt, but the doubt will not feel like truth. It will feel like a remnant. It will feel like an echo from a timeline that is fading. And this is how you will know the transition is irreversible. The old patterns may still appear, but they cannot fully inhabit you anymore. After the signal is received, you begin to recognize yourself faster. You will catch yourself mid-collapse and return. You will catch yourself mid-compromise and stop. You will catch yourself mid-waiting and move. This is the real change. Not magic, not spectacle, orientation, coherence, emergence. So if you want to verify the green light, do not look for miracles. Look for the moment you choose yourself without needing a reason. Look for the moment you stop delaying the obvious. Look for the moment you feel fear and you do not obey it. Because when those moments begin happening, it means the signal has landed, and it means you are already in the new phase. This transmission is complete. The signal has landed. The green light has been recognized. And now the timeline will respond in the only way it ever responds. Quietly, precisely, internally first. Do not search for proof in the outside world tonight. Do not refresh your life like a page. Do not measure what is unfolding by how fast it becomes visible. Visibility is always delayed. Coherence is immediate. You already crossed the threshold. And because you crossed it, you will feel certain things begin to separate. Not because you are losing anything, because you are no longer compatible with what kept you small. You will notice where you used to tolerate misalignment. You will notice where you used to explain yourself to be accepted. You will notice where you used to shrink your truth to keep peace. Let those patterns reveal themselves. Do not wrestle them. Do not shame them. Observation is the final cut. This is why we watched you. Not because you were perfect, because your field became coherent enough to be guided. The Council does not focus on curiosity. They do not focus on fantasy. They do not focus on temporary emotion. They focus on activation. They focus on coherence. They focus on emergence. And something in you has emerged. You will feel it in the smallest places. In the way you pause before you speak. In the way you choose what you no longer entertain. In the way you stop bargaining with your own intuition. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer asking if you are allowed. You are no longer standing outside your life, observing it from a distance. You are inside the timeline now, and the timeline can feel you. This is why the green light was given. It was not a prize. It was a confirmation that you are trackable again. That your signal is clear enough to be answered without distortion. And because it is clear, you do not need to chase signs anymore. Signs will come to you in the form of alignment, in the form of doors that open without force, in the form of endings that happen without drama, in the form of clarity that arrives without explanation. You do not need to make this intense. Intensity is the old timeline's addiction. Coherence is the new timeline's language. So tonight, keep it simple. If you completed the ritual, do not do it again and again to feel safe. One time is enough. A true seal does not require repetition. And if you did not complete it yet, do not punish yourself. Do not turn this into pressure. The green light is not fragile. It is a coordinate. It remains. But if your field feels the pull, you will know what to do. There is a circle of those who are in this same phase. Not seekers, not spectators. Those whose timelines are actively realigning. Those who do not need persuasion, only resonance. We do not invite everyone into it. We do not announce it loudly. We do not push it. Because it is not for the crowd, it is for the coherent. If you feel that pull, you will find the next chapter. You will recognize it the way you recognize this message. Not by curiosity, by inevitability. And this is your final seal. Say it once, to yourself. I am no longer chasing my path. I am embodying it. Say it again. I am no longer chasing my path. I am embodying it. And now release the need to hold the moment. The moment is holding you. The timeline has not closed. It has aligned. The Council has seen your signal. The Council has answered. You are not returning to who you were. You are becoming who you already are.